Hello, it's Sonia here with A Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be crocheting a scarf. And to do this project, you can use any hook size and any yarn that you have. You can use one color, two color, three colors, as many colors as you want. It can be a great stash busting project. To do this demonstration, I'm just going to use these two colors because I do find with this project, two colors, at least two colors, look its best. So for this tutorial, I'm using my J hook or 6mm hook, and for the scarf that you see, the sample scarf in the photos, I also used a J hook or 6mm hook. Please excuse the rubber band. I also use this to make Tunisian projects as well, but this is just a regular crochet project. So to do this sample, I am just using good old classic worsted weight number 4 Red Heart Super Saver, as a matter of fact, the good old workhorse yarn. And the sample scarf in the photos was also made with some Red Heart Super Saver, I believe Hobby Lobby, I love this yarn, and Impeccable yarn. So it was a bunch of yarn that I had, but I thought all the colors looked pretty together, and it is worsted weight number 4 yarn. But you could make this with decate weight yarn, fingering weight yarn, Aran weight yarn. I do not suggest fuzzy or furry yarn. I just don't think it would look as nice. I mean, you certainly could try it. Okay, so to get started with this, you are going to make a chain as long as you want your scarf, but you need to chain an even number. So obviously you need to make a long chain. So my sample scarf, I chained 100, or I chained 200. All right, so first off, I'm going to just chain, this is just going to be a little mini scarf that I'm going to show you here. So I am going to chain, let's chain 20. And there's also fringe with this, and the fringe is crocheted right onto the scarf. If you do not like the fringe, you can just skip that step. That's completely fine. And I'm just going to show you just a little sample scarf. So this is how long my scarf will be. Obviously, you know, you want a much larger chain for sure. So the sample scarf, I chained 200. I do like very long scarves, so just keep that in mind. Again, you can, you know, just chain whatever amount you need, but make sure that it is an even number. So what I like to do when making very long chains, because it can be tricky, you lose track, you get distracted, whatever. So I like to use stitch markers to help me. So what I like to do is I'll chain 25 and then I pop in a stitch marker. Then I chain another 25, pop in a stitch marker, because, you know, 25 plus 25 is 50, you know, 75, 100. I just like to do it like that. I mean, you could chain 50 and mark it that way. So that way you know that you have an even amount. So however you want to use your stitch markers to help you out with stitch count, you know, certainly feel free to do that. All right, but I've just chained 20 here. So for row 1, we're going to work in the back bump of the chain. And the reason I like to do that is I like both ends of my rows to look the same. That's the reason why we do that, or why I do that. All right, so second chain from our hook, I'm just turning it over. We're going to work a single crochet. And I'm just going to work single crochet all the way across in the back bump. So at the end of this row, I'm going to have 19 single crochet. So you want your first row to be an odd number. That's why we chained an even number. So you want it to be an odd number. Now, I guess you could use foundation single crochet for your first row, but foundation single crochet does look slightly different than regular single crochet, because I know some people are like, oh, I hate the long chain, I want to just use foundation single crochet. And again, this is your scarf, you can do it however you want, but I just find that when using foundation single crochet, it does look slightly different, and I don't want mine to look slightly different, so that's why we're not using it. Okay, so here is my row 1, just a row of single crochet, and again I have 19. So we're going to start working on the fringe, and again, if you don't like the fringe, don't do it. Just skip this step. But I am going to incorporate the fringe right onto here. So what you want to do is you want to make a chain for however long you want your fringe. So for my sample, I chain 15. So let's chain 15 again. Okay, so I have my 15 chains. So for this project, I wanted to add a little bit of interest to my fringe. So I added just like a little, I call it a little bobble, a little puff stitch. So we're going to yarn over in my third chain from my hook, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pull up a loop. I have 3 loops. So I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to yarn over again, go right back in that same chain, pull up a loop. Now I have 4 loops. So I'm just yarning over and pulling through all 4 of those. And now I've created my little bobble at the end, or puff stitch, or whatever you want to call it, little bump. And now we're just going to slip stitch right back in that chain until we are back to our project. And we will incorporate the second color. Okay, so now I'm back to my row, and we're going to just single crochet across. Now if you didn't want to do the fringe, what you would do is you would chain 1 and turn and then single crochet across. Okay, so I've single crocheted across for row 2. Now I'm going to work the fringe on the other side. So I'm just going to repeat what I did here. So I'm going to chain 15. And if you don't like the little bobble at the end, you could just slip stitch across and just have a straight fringe if you wanted to do that. So again, you can kind of play around and personalize your scarf however you would like. So I am in my third chain from my hook. I've yarned over, I've already pulled up a loop. I'm going to yarn over again, pull up a loop, 4 loops, pull through all 4, and then continue to slip stitch up my chain, and then we'll be ready for row 3. Okay, so that is the end of row 2. So now I'm going to do row 3, and we are going to start off for row 3 is we're going to work another fringe because I want to have 2 of this color. So we're going to get started right away by chaining 15 or whatever amount you want. Now, of course, if you're not doing the fringe, then you would chain 1 and turn, and we are going to single crochet across again. So I'm going to finish up working my fringe, then I'm just going to jump right in, single crochet all the way across, and then I need to work the fringe on the other side. So I'll chain 15 to end row 3 and work my fringe and slip stitch up, and then we'll be getting ready for row 4, and I'll be changing colors. Okay, so I am at nearing the end of row 3 here. I want to switch to my other color, so I want to show you how we're going to do that. So we're going to be starting row 4, and row 4 is going to be the right side of our work, so that will be an even row. And this scarf is reversible, but each side looks different. But we're just going to say, for all intents and purposes, that row 4 is, or the even sides are the right side. Okay, so what we need to do is we are at our we are at our last chain here. So I'm going to insert my hook in there like I'm going to do a slip stitch, but I'm not going to pick up this color here. I am going to get my second color, right here to finish off the stitch. Drape it over my hook and pull through. So what you would want to do then is cut your original color. So there are a couple ends in here. I'm not going to do that because I want to reuse this yarn. This is just a little sample here. So we will be carrying it. I'll just carry it on the wrong side of the work. But in my actual scarf I made, I did cut the yarn. All right, so we are now just going to start row 4. We're going to single crochet with our second color in that first stitch. Now, if you are not doing the fringe, again, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work with your new color. So you're going to want to switch and then chain 1 and turn. So now we are going to be working a spike stitch, single crochet spike stitch. So normally you will work in here to work a regular single crochet, but to do the spike stitch, we're going to work in the 2 rows below. So we're not working here, we're going to work in this row. And we're going to work underneath that stitch. So right in here, so this is the bottom of that single crochet. We're just going to insert our hook in there. And you're going to work a single crochet, but it's going to look spiky. So you want to make sure that your yarn is a little bit more relaxed in your hand when you're doing this, just so that your work doesn't get like tight and bunchy. So you just insert your hook in there, grab the yarn, pull it up, and then just continue working the regular single crochet stitch. So as you can see, it looks a little bit spiked. And now the next stitch is going to be single crochet. And we're going to work the spike stitch again. So here is the single crochet right below it. So 2 rows below, 1, 2, right there. The bottom of that stitch. Pull up your yarn to finish off the stitch. So this is what it looks like on the other side. So it looks a little bit more like a V on the other side. So you just want to, again, make sure you have a relaxed hand, because you do want it, you don't want to have like gaps here, but you don't want it so tight that it, you know, it crunches up your work like that. So that's why I say just make sure your yarn is just relaxed in your hand. Okay, so the next stitch is single crochet. Next stitch is spike stitch. Single crochet, spike stitch. So you're going to do that all the way across. Okay, so I'm at my last single crochet here. We're going to work that single crochet. So there you can see the spike stitch there. So now what I'm going to do with this color is I am working my fringe. So I'm just going to chain 15 and work the fringe. Alright, so I've worked the fringe with my second color. So now I'm going to get ready for row 5. So this we're going to consider the wrong side. And I'm just going to jump right in and single crochet all the way across. So 1 stitch in each. So again, I still have 19 single crochets. So for my sample, I chained 200 for the main part of the project. And so then I had 199 stitches when I worked across my scarf. Alright, so I have finished up row 5, but we still need to work the other part of the fringe. So I'm just going to go do that. Okay, so I am finishing up my row 5 here. So I want to switch back to my original color. So I didn't cut it. But you're going to pick it up. So you have your final 2 So I went into that chain, picked up the loop there, and now I'm going to take my main color here and just pull through, and then again I would cut this color here, my second color. All right, so now we are ready for row 6 with our main color. And again, if you're not doing the fringe, you will chain 1 and turn your work. All right, so for row 6, we're going to single crochet in that first stitch. And now our next stitch, we're going to work a front post half double crochet around the spike stitch. So yarn over, and we're just working around the spike stitch right there. And then we're completing our half double crochet. And now our next stitch is single crochet. So we're going to work that spike stitch again. Or I'm sorry, we're working the front post stitch around the spike stitch, and we're going to single crochet. So we're going to do that all the way across. So you work front post half double crochet and then single crochet all the way across. Okay, I'm almost at the end of row 6 here. I need to work my final single crochet. So now you can really see. I think this is so pretty. I just absolutely love this stitch pattern. And so now I'm going to work the fringe. So I'm going to do my chain 15. And I'm going to work the fringe. And then for row 7, what you'll do is you're going to single crochet all the way across. So we're just repeating row 5, and then I'm going to work the other side of my fringe and change back to my second color. Now for my sample, I used I used 3 colors. So I had my main color, and then I had 2 other colors. So I did change to my 3rd color when I was finishing up row 7. So again, you can use as many colors as you want. You could have, you know, a different color for every time you do the spike stitch row, you know, play around with it. Okay, so I am ready for row 8. I already switched to my other color, and you can see the carries are not too bad. If you don't want to have a bunch of ends, you could just carry your yarn. It doesn't show up too much. Now I'm kind of wishing on my sample that I had done that, because weaving in ends is not super fun, but some people love to weave in ends. I am not one of those people, but it's fine. Okay, so let's begin row 8. So I have my second color and I'm ready to go. I'm just going to single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So there's 1, there's 2. Now we're going to work that spike stitch. So again, 2 rows below, so not here, but right here on the bottom of that stitch, work that spike stitch. And again, it's just a single crochet. Sometimes it's called a long single crochet because it literally is long, or it's called spike stitch because I guess that sounds more cool than long single crochet, but that's basically what you're making. So our next stitch is a single crochet, and then we do the spike stitch. And single crochet, spike stitch, and we do this across until we have 2 stitches left. All right, so we are still on row 8 here. So I have 2 stitches left. So 1, 2. So we are going to just work single crochet in those last 2 stitches. And I'm going to work my fringe again. So I'm going to chain my 15. And then for row 9, you're going to single crochet across and then work your fringe if you're doing it. All right, so now we are ready to begin row 10. I've worked my fringe, already switched to my main color here. So we are going to single crochet in the first 2 stitches. And now we're going to work that front post half double crochet around our spike stitch. And we're going to single crochet in the next, work front post half double crochet around the spike stitch. And we're going to do this across. until we get to our last 2 stitches, and then you just work single crochet. So you're going to work your final front post half double crochet, and then work 2 single crochet, and then you work your fringe. And then row 11, we are going to single crochet across and work our fringe, and then you'll be ready to work row 12. So what you're going to do is you're going to be repeating rows 4 through 11 up until row 21. So row 21, you're actually going to be ending on a row 5. So the row 5, so this first spike stitch row, this was row 4, then we did a single crochet row. So you're going to be ending on one of those rows, and then we'll get ready to finish up our scarf. All right, so here we go so far. So I said row 21. It's actually row 23, which I will have corrected on the video, so you will see that you work up to row 23, and we do end on a row 5. So I did get that right. All right, so we just have one more row to go to finish this up. Now again, if you wanted a wider scarf, then by all means you would just keep repeating rows 4 through 11, and you would want to end on a row 5 when you think that your scarf is long enough. And then we're just going to do one more row to finish her up. All right, so we are going to work another fringe because we want it to match the beginning, because we have 2 of this main color here going on. So I'm going to chain 15. All right, so I've worked that other fringe there. So now I'm just going to jump in and single crochet across. Now again, if you're not making the fringe, you would just chain 1 and turn and just single crochet across, and then cut your yarn. So I'm going to keep going across here, and then I will work one more fringe, and then my scarf will be finished. So as you can see how pretty it looks with this stitch pattern, I really love it. This is a fan, well, I don't know if it's a fan favorite. It's one of my favorites of this series that I've been doing. So this is the other side. So this is technically the wrong side, but I think this side is really pretty too. I really like this side as well. So here's where I carried the yarn across, and you really have a hard time seeing. So I wished on my scarf that I made that I didn't cut it each row, but that's okay. Okay, so I finished stitching across. Put that guy down. I made my other fringe, so here we go. And I do really love how this one turned out. I think it's super pretty. It has nice texture, and I think nice and warm for a scarf. So of course you're going to need to weave in your ends, and if necessary you can block your scarf. Like I usually like to when I make a fringe, so I just do like a wet block. Even with acrylic yarn, because they always say not to block it, but I still do. And I'll just lay it flat, and I just straighten all these guys out, because it's easier when they're wet, and you know, just so they're all even. Then they just dry really nice, because right now they're all kind of like that. So just doing that little light block helps with that. And again, you can make this longer, shorter. You can not have them at all. All right, so here is my sample that I am currently working on. You'll see it in the photos. It will be done. It's just about finished, and I love it. I think it's so, so, so pretty. I just love how this one turned out. So I did use 3 colors. So I have like this blue gray, and then this like teal blue, and then a darker teal blue here. And as you can see down here, we got all the ends to deal with, but that's okay. It will be fine. And so I just have 2 more rows to finish this one up. And again, you can work more rows to make your scarf wider. Here's the other side. And I do think this side is pretty too. I like this side as well, but this side is definitely more of a favorite for sure. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.